We all have giants in our lives. Maybe not like the one David fought, but giants for us nonetheless. For some it's a financial hurdle, for some it's spiritual, and for some it could be an illness that we are fighting. No matter what our giant is, our Father Yahuwah can deliver us from it. Let's look at the story of David versus Goliath and see how he was able to be victorious over Goliath, and how we can use the same method to be victorious over any giant that we will ever have to face in our lives. Our story begins when the Philistines come up against Israel, and the Philistines sends out their champion, Goliath. 1 Samuel 17. Now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Succoth in Judah. They pitched camp at Ephes Dammim, between Succoth and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the valley of Elah, and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another, with a valley between them. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Then the Philistines said, "This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. Now, based on the measurement of 6 cubits in a span, they put Goliath over 7 foot, possibly 9 foot 9. Now, they didn't just send Goliath out because he was a giant. They sent him out because he was a battle-proven champion, much like the temptations that Satan uses in our lives. He knows our weaknesses and knows just what champion to use on us and when to use it. As all of Israel's army cowered in fear, David, a young boy, stood up to his giant, just as Father Yahuwah commands us in Joshua 1:9. "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For Yahuwah your Elohim will be with you wherever you go." Sometimes this can be hard to do when you believe a situation is hopeless, but with Yahuwah, all things are possible. Mattithyahu, Matthew 19:26. And looking intently, Yahushua said to them, "With men this is impossible, but with Elohim all is possible." And Yahuwah can even bring dry bones to life. Ezekiel 37:5. Thus saith the Adon Yahuwah to these bones, "See, I am bringing into you a spirit, and you shall live." Goliath, like our sins, are opposed to Yahuwah's will, like when he cursed David by his mighty ones. 1 Samuel 17:41. Meanwhile, the Philistine, with his shield bearer in front of him, kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. "Come here," he said, "and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." What Goliath said goes against the first commandment, Exodus 20, verse 2 and 3. "I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. 1 Samuel 17:45, David said to the Philistine, You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of the armies of Israel, whom you defied. This day Yahuwah will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. The word defied in this passage is blasphemed. 1 Samuel 17:48. As the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly towards the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into his forehead and he fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with sling and a stone. Without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and killed him. David used a stone to kill Goliath. By doing so, David was in alignment with Yahuwah's commands in Leviticus 24:15-16. And speak to the children of Israel, saying, Anyone who curses his Elohim shall bear his sin, and he who blasphemes the name of Yahuwah shall be certainly put to death, and all the congregation certainly stone him, the stranger as well as the native. When he blasphemes the name, he is put to death. As you can see, David fought against Goliath using Yahuwah's word and kept his commands. No matter what giant you face, you will be victorious by using the same method that David used to face your fears with. Your hope and faith in Yahuwah for deliverance, keeping his commands and praying to him in alignment with his will. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. You will always face giants in your life, but through Yahuwah, and no matter what giant it is, you will be victorious. Yochanan, John 16:33. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. I hope and pray that this message is a blessing to you. And I pray that Father Yahuwah blesses you and keeps you. Shalom.